If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson cries for every dime.
Welcome to Simply the Law of Life, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Simply the Law of Life provides free legal advice and encourages happiness and quality of life. Now, here's Simply the Law of Life with Gary C. Johnson and Keith Casebolt.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into Simply the Law of Life. I got to tell you, my friend Gary Johnson, not only has he created this show, but he makes this old world worth living and worth fun with some of the thoughts that he has. Good to see you.
It's wonderful to be here, Keith. Guys and gals, isn't it wonderful to be alive, huh? Look around and smile. Okay, somebody didn't do that. Whether you know, I know. Come on, give me that smile. It can't be that bad, huh? And if it is, you'll fix it. You know why? Because you're plenty smart enough to do it. Okay? Now give me that smile. Come on.
Hey,
let's do it.
I got to tell you, you always start out with criticizing, condemning, and complaining. Don't do it. I got to tell you this. My wife the other day told me there was a situation that came up and she felt compelled to criticize the situation. She felt compelled to go on to social media and let everybody know. But she said, I'll wait until tomorrow. And then she said the next day, sweet Jesus, what a mistake that would have been. She said, I am so thankful I didn't criticize the situation. So you're getting through on this criticism, condemning, and complaining.
24-hour rule, too. She went by the 24-hour rule. Emotions were raging. The inner voice, that old mean inner voice was saying, oh, boy, you're going to get them, you're going to get them, you're going to show them. You're going to show them how stupid they are and how smart you are. Huh? When the inner voice, that voice, knows that when you did it, you'd be showing them how stupid you are and how smart they are.
Gary,
okay?
If you look in the national news, it's like every day somebody's lost their job, they've lost their career, they've been fired because of these posts that they felt compelled. They had to go and tell people just how smart they were and how dumb they were, and yet it has ruined their lives. And now they spend all their time apologizing for it.
And really, there's no need to do it. Because, my friends, you're talking to that old voice that tries to get you in trouble, right? You're reasoning with it. You say, no, let's don't get this trouble this time. Let's wait till next time. I may let you get me in trouble next time. But we're going to wait a while. I found that 2 hours works almost as good as 24 hours for you to come to your senses when emotion's involved.
It does, and let me tell you something. You said on our radio program, by the way, Gary and I are on your local radio station, just about every station on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, and we have a little fireside chat, but you said something this past week on the radio station that you were reading from one of the books that we're all different, and thank God we are, and we should embrace it and never criticize anybody for being different. I thought that was an eye-opener.
Wouldn't it be horrible if we were all the same? Wouldn't it be horrible if everyone agreed with you on everything you said? You'd know that's lying, right?
Wait a minute. Are you saying wouldn't it be horrible if we all had stars on our belly?
Now, it'd be a pretty nice world if everybody looked like me and Keith, right, Keith?
Oh, yeah. It'd be a nice world, all right.
Oh, really and truly, it's so wonderful we're different. And I've said it on the program before, and I'm going to say it again in case any of you missed it. Look at the person around you and see how different they are from you physically. Okay? Major differences, right? Unbelievable differences. What makes you think they're just like you inside?
So, Gary, when we're saying to someone, why can't you see it the way I see it? It's no different than some big athlete saying, why can't you bench press 300 pounds? I can.
Same difference. We are as different inside as we are on the outside. And that's what makes a person an individual. That's what makes a person special. That's what makes a person unique. It's not just their physical appearance that makes a person unique. It's what's inside of them that makes them unique.
But Gary, it seems like right now in our society, we've gotten into this cancel culture, whatever it's called. But if you don't agree with everything I say, or you don't act like I act, then we want to close you out or shut you out and get rid of you.
That always runs its course, and it will this time. What those people don't understand is that what makes this world go around is the fact that people have different ideas, people think differently, people are different, and it's okay and it is wonderful. And everyone is special. Everyone is special. I don't care how bad you disagree with what they're saying, they are special. And you know why you're not going to fight that battle with them? They may be right. And you may be wrong. I've had that happen to me before, so okay. Last week we talked about reading from a book. And those two books, I read from the one last week. This is the other one. Didn't do another big program because I have to read from this book. I don't have any choice.
You are compelled.
I am compelled. My inner voice says, read from this book, Gary. I'm going to read from this book, okay?
And it was the good inner voice that told you.
Oh, it's the good inner voice, right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
This is from Douglas Block. And again, I'll show you how I pick what I'm going to tab.
And it turns out to be the lesson you needed.
And I think you'll agree that it's exactly what some of you need. Let's see. At least one of you, because after all, one's all I'm worried about, right? Listen to this, the first one that come up. Life is forgiving. When Albert Schweitzer said, the only one of you who will be truly happy are those who have found and learned how to serve. He was stating an ancient truth, that the meaning of life lies in giving. The quality of your life is in direct proportion to your willingness to give. In the classic movie, It's a Wonderful Life, George Bailey discovered this truth. Though he had many opportunities to pursue his ambitions elsewhere, George remained in his community and dedicated himself to providing affordable housing to its members. When his guardian angel showed him what the town would be like if he had never been born, Bailey realized how much of a difference his giving had made. George also discovered another secret, that what you give is what you receive. Whatever you give out comes back to you, generally tenfold. When you extend yourself to nurture the spiritual growth of another, you nurture your own growth. Although his material possessions were modest, George Bailey was toasted as the richest, i.e., the most beloved man in town by the people of Bedford Falls. Later he remarked, no man can be poor as long as he has friends. Bailey gave of himself for the joy of giving, and the joy is what he received. By following this path, we too can be blessed.
Now, you know what? You got to watch A Wonderful Life. It's a great story. But that was such an important passage that you read. How many people have we seen, and I think all of us can relate to this, that had a big bank account, a lot of zeros, and at the end of life, there they were, all alone, or you went to the funeral home and there was only a handful of people there. And then, how many people have we seen, Gary, that didn't have all the zeros, that you couldn't get into the funeral home? They were standing outside, people were weeping and crying because this person had touched so many lives.
The key, and really one of the reasons I do this program, is I'm hoping from some way, spiritually or whatever, that I can reach you and make you feel a little better about yourself and life. That I can give you something that makes a little bit of difference Because when I meet the old maker, I'm going to say, hey, look, ask around. I might have helped somebody.
Let me in.
Yeah, let me in.
Somebody vouch for me.
I tried.
But now, wait a minute. Let's go back to what you just said. What greater reward could there be in life than for somebody to come up to you and say, because of something you said or something you did, you made my life better?
I'm hoping that there will be at least one of you that will listen to some of the things I'm saying, and it will make you feel better about yourself and life because you are worthy. Okay, now I got to read more on this book before this thing. I had 3 or 4 things I have to read. This one, if you're there, Tanya, listen to this one, okay? It's called Turning Lead into Gold. John Lennon once said, life is what happens to us when we are busy making other plans. As you follow the path of the inner voice with its fruits of peace and joy, you will also encounter your share of tests and challenges. While it is natural to ask, why me, when adversity strikes, feeling victimized leaves you powerless to change the situation. A better approach, if you can possibly do it, is to emulate the triumphant survivors, those individuals who emerge from their ordeals strengthened and renewed. They understand the universal law that every adversity contains within it the seeds of an equivalent or greater good. The triumphant survivor says, I would rather not have to deal with this challenge, but as long as I must, I will use it as an opportunity to grow and transform myself and be more. When adversity is faced in this way, miracles happen. The apparent curse comes from a divine blessing. Uninvited situations bring life-changing lessons. Here, then, is the secret. By using everything for your spiritual growth, we become victor instead of victim. By looking for the good in all things, we turn lead into gold.
You know, the whole time you were reading that, before you and I came on the show, you and I were discussing a friend that we know that's had a string of bad luck health-wise that has been about a mile long, and it still continues. And I keep thinking, this guy he's due for some good luck, but every time I speak to him, you know what he says? I'm just happy to be alive.
That's right.
I'm happy to be here. And he has never gotten bitter or gotten down, and he's never used those words, why me? And I'm like, man, if I could be like you, if I could have that resolve that you've got.
Well, there's a reason for everything. We don't understand it, and we don't know it, and we never will. Boy, would I be able to tell you how smart I am if I knew anything.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Someone said, where are you and Gary going with this? I said, I don't know. We're trying to learn.
That's right.
We're trying to figure it out. Because
we are struggling with this, my friends, just like you are. It's a struggle.
We're just like everybody. Every day that we get to be happier is a victory. And if this helps you be a little bit happier.
And the goal is to try to get that negativity out of your life and have a little bit of peace and calm and joy and happiness. That's what we set out to do this year. And I hope some of you are doing it. I hope you are not conquering, but dealing with that negativity in your life. I just hope, okay? Got to read a little bit more from a book. There's at least 3 more tabs. Here's a good one that may apply to one of you, so listen up, because it was picked randomly. Forgive and move on. An essential aid to following the path of the inner voice is practicing forgiveness. Resentment comes from the Latin word resenter, to feel over and over and over again. By repeatedly re-experiencing the old resentments, we are less apt to hear our intuition, which exists only in the present. In other words, By over and over and over, we're shutting out the inner voice that we need so bad. When Jean married, she had not completed her unfinished business with her father. Consequently, she projected all of her old resentments onto her husband. Her desire to love him was distorted by the hurt and anger from the past. This is why it is said that until we complete our source relationships, we are never truly in another relationships. Forgiving can also help you take back your power. As long as you believe that someone else's actions are the cause of your present difficulties, you are powerless to change. I'm going to read that again. Forgiving can also help you get back your power. As long as you believe that someone else's actions are the cause of your present difficulties, you are powerless to change. Letting go of blame allows you to take responsibility for your life. All this adds up to a single point. Forgiveness is an act of self-kindness. It liberates your life force. It completes the past. It closes it. Choose now to heal your old unfinished business. It is time to let go of the pain and move on. Place your hurt on an altar and surrender it to God. Give it to a higher power. Set yourself free.
Now, all right, let's talk. Let's talk to our friends. Several years ago, I was in somewhat of a conflict, and I had shared it with Gary, and I felt like this individual had done me wrong. And I shared it with Gary, and Gary said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick up the phone, and I want you to call and apologize. And I said, but wait a minute. I didn't do the wrong. And Gary said, listen to me. Pick up the phone, call and apologize, and ask for forgiveness. And I said, how is that going to change that individual? And you said, I'm not talking about that individual. I'm trying to change you. If you will forgive and apologize, you can move on, and that individual can do whatever they want to.
That's right. It didn't matter.
It was the toughest assignment, I think, that you have ever given me, but I did it. I did what you told me.
Did it work?
It worked for me. It freed me up. I felt glorious and moved on. The individual didn't accept the apology, but it didn't matter. It worked for me exactly like you said. I mean, I was free. I could go on and move on.
You literally are powerless to change if you're letting another individual control your thoughts. I'll say that again, it is so important. You have given up your power. You have no power until you let go and turn it loose.
And what a burden it is to carry that on, isn't it?
Well, it destroys lives. And if you don't turn it loose, it will destroy what life you've got. You will never have the joy that you were meant to have. You will never have the joy that can come from communicating with your inner voice. You will never have that. It's gone.
So, Gary,
and nobody should have the power to take that away from you.
to the individual that's watching this program right now that says there's no way I can pick up that phone and call and apologize to somebody that has done me so wrong, your message is still clear. Do it.
You're not worried about them.
It's
it doesn't
about
matter
you.
what they do or don't do. The issue is, how do you feel? Okay, got a little bit more I need to read to my friends. More stickies. More random stickies. Okay.
High tech.
Huh?
High tech.
This one is called Amazing Grace. For those who walk the path of the inner voice, grace is the ultimate blessing. Not only are we guided by grace, but it is grace that has enabled us to take the first step on this wondrous journey called life. Think of the times when you were lifted out of disaster at the 11th hour. Recall those turning points when unforeseen forces intervened in your life. The right job turned up when you needed it. Through a series of seemingly coincidences, you were led to a person who provided the help you were seeking. An unexpected source of money arrived to help you pay bills when you never expected it? As a cloud-covered sky can block out the rays of the sun, so our doubts and fear can block out the perception of God's grace. Still, the sun is always shining, even when we can't see it. The help is still there, even when we don't realize it. And in the midst of our unbelief, grace still enters our lives. We are not alone. We may call it a guardian angel or an unexplained good fortune, but there is a benevolent force at work in our lives, guiding us each step of the way if we will listen. More than anything else, the experience of grace gives us the courage to continue listening to the inner voice. For the love that has guided you to this point would not have done so unless it was prepared to lead you on to the fulfillment of your highest and truest calling.
You know, the whole time you were reading that, I was thinking about the great country star singer Garth Brooks that had that song, I Thank God for Unanswered Prayers, because I was thinking, how many times did we wish for something or pray for something and not get it and say, but why? Only to find out it was the greatest thing that ever happened to you in the world that you didn't get it.
And he follows up with some affirmations that he said you need to say to yourself on this one. Number one, I give thanks for the good that has graced my life. I am truly blessed. I appreciate all the help I receive. My life overflows with abundance and prosperity. The light of God surrounds me. And then he finishes it with a quote from John Newton. Though many dangers, toils, and snares I've already come, 'tis grace that has brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. Huh? Pretty powerful stuff, folks, if we're listening.
Yeah, if we're listening. And I'm thinking, you know, how many times have we been blessed by grace and not been thankful for it? Or how many times have we been forgiven for mistakes we've made?
And how many times have we been blessed by grace and ignored it? That's the big one. All of the wonderful things that's happened in our life, we've ignored. Most of them, really and truly. And we didn't give any credit for it. We didn't give our inner voice, the voice that talks to us. We just said, okay, yeah, oh, goody, it was me.
So 9 good things happen to us, and then one bad thing happens, and what do? We spend all of our time talking about the bad thing that happened, and we don't talk about the 9 good things.
In relationships, you can have a wonderful friend or spouse or whatever. Great joy having them with you. Wonderful times with them. One time after time after time. They make one mistake. One lousy mistake. What do?
Right.
I'm never fooling with you again. I'm getting away from you. Huh? Like a fool.
You write them off.
And you write off all the wonderful times you could have with them in the future. All because of that one mistake. Because you can't let it go.
Amazing.
Think about that, my friends. Okay? Now let's go on. There's one last one I've got to read to you before this program ends. It's the power of optimism. A truly powerful force in the universe is that of optimism. Optimism lies at the root of our mental and physical health. Feelings of hope can stimulate the body's immune system and inspire recovery from a critical illness. Did you know that, huh? Optimism expresses itself in the persistence and resilience of living things. A child learning to walk repeatedly falls down and picks himself up until he stands erect. A decade after the eruption of Mount St. Helens destroyed the local ecology, life has reestablished itself on this volcano with amazing abundance and rapidity. Despite its hostile environment, a soul dandelion miraculously pushes itself up through a crack in the concrete. That dandelion is optimistic that it can and it will survive, even if it's in concrete. In the long run, the forces of love and life always triumph over those of fear and death. No matter how challenging the obstacles or difficult the tests, there is always cause for optimism. On the affirmations on that, he says, you say to yourself, I have faith that all things are working together for good in my life, and that I am in tune with nature, and I am in tune with my inner voice. I expect the best, and I intend to get it. I see my glass as half full rather than half empty. When I fall down, I'll pick myself up and I'll try again. I'm empowered by my optimism.
You know, isn't that amazing that I think all of us at one time or another has felt that, oh, what a wonderful world it is. There's so many beautiful things that can happen. And then we let that negative inner voice come over us, and then the next day you're up saying, oh, it's so tough. How are we going to make it?
We're running out of time. I got to read you one out of this Maxwell book because it spurred me down. Don't have any choice. Hang on, folks. It's about failure. He who hopes to avoid all failures and misfortune is trying to live in a fairyland. The wise man realistically accepts failures as part of life and builds a philosophy to meet them and make the most of them. He lives on the principle of nothing attempted, nothing gained, and is resolved that if he fails, he is going to fail while trying to succeed. He does not set for himself the impossible ideal of always being successful in everything. He does the best he can, and then with a serene spirit accepts what comes, even failure. He learns from the scientist who said, at least my research is about 99% failure and 1% success, and the 1% is the only thing that counts. He finds courage in the pages of biography, which indicates that our greatest men failed many, many times. For instance, Louis Pasteur was described as a scientific phoenix who arose triumph from the ashes of his own mistake, and they were numerous. He recognizes that although he cannot control what happens to him, he can always control how he responds to his failures.
Very important.
Yep.
Because we've had too many people that have tried one time and quit, and you're saying persistence.
Persistence. There's nothing wrong with failure. It's part of living. If you try, you'll fail. It's just that simple.
But much like the kid, you get back up and
You'll
then
be better
finally
because
start
of it. You'll be much wiser and a whole lot smarter. Huh?
Well, we got our lesson for us this week, and we got a lot to work on this week. If you'd like to get in touch with Gary, you can do that. Gary at GaryCJohnson.com. Leave a comment. Let us know if some of this is helpful to you. My friend, thank you for the program.
Well, I got through those books. I hope I don't have to go back to them again.
On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. Thank you so much for tuning in to Simply the Law of Life. As always, Gary and I look forward to seeing you again next week at the same time.
Thank you for watching Simply the Law of Life, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.
I'm Gary C. Johnson. You've seen these billboards and ads that say size matters. I agree. The size that matters is the size of the results the law firm gets for their clients. We have several multi-million-dollar verdicts here in Kentucky. In fact, our firm owns the record for the single largest personal injury verdict in the state of Kentucky. That's the size that matters to you. In Kentucky, give our firm the call.